Hello and welcome everyone to our Start U of G session, Living at University. I'm Janessa and I'm a part of the START team who will be helping you prepare for this fall. Before we dive into the content for today's presentation, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we gather. So it's with great respect that the START team acknowledges that the University of Guelph resides on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the treaty lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize that today this is a gathering place that is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. And acknowledging them reminds us all of our relationship to this land where we learn and grow together. As a new Griffin, it's incredibly important that you understand the importance of land acknowledgements and why we do them. We encourage you to visit our Land Acknowledge website to learn more, and we'll be posting a link to that in our Q&A section. For today's session, whether you're living at home or in the city of Guelph, commuting to campus, or in residence, this session is for you. Today, I'm excited to welcome some lovely folks from our student housing services as well as off-campus living, and they're going to provide you with lots of information about the wonderful supports that they offer, as well as some things to think about before moving in September. After our general session, we'll break out into sessions regarding residence and off-campus. Both sessions are being recorded and will be posted on our START website, so you can watch them both later on. We'll have questions in the Q&A. So if you have questions that you think of while we're presenting, feel free to write those in the Q&A and a member of our team will respond either by commenting back to your question or we might answer your question live as well. I want to take a moment to chat about the city of Guelph. So the city of Guelph is often called the Royal City. One of the things that I really love about Guelph is that there's lots of green space here. Right on campus, we have the Arboretum that you can walk through and spend some time in nature. And there's some great spaces around the city as well, including the Guelph Lake Conservation Area and other parks and walkable places. Our campus isn't too far from downtown, where we've got lots of shops, restaurants, entertainment, and more. So the city of Guelph has a lot to offer outside of our campus. All of you are preparing to be Guelph Griffins, and whether you're living on or off campus, you're always a Guelph Griffin. It's important to remember that as Griffins, we are respectful and caring. We're determined to do our best. We're engaged both inside and outside the classroom, and we're authentic to our true selves. Those are our Griffin's values. If you're living in residence, you also have our residence community living standards. We'll be posting a link to those so you can check them out in the chat. And for folks that are living off campus, we've got our community standards protocol, which is a set of guidelines to make sure that students and our community members feel safe and respected. Whether you're living on or off campus, you'll get to participate in Orientation Week. Orientation Week will be at the beginning of September, and there are events for everyone. If you're living off campus, we'll have some Griffin's Nest facilitators who will help answer questions and go with you to events. So they'll meet you at the bus stop and go to some of the bigger events with you. And then in residence, you'll have lots of access to our orientation events. You'll hear more from the START team about Griffin's Nest over the next few weeks, so keep an eye on your email for that information. You also might have heard of our Griff Life website already, and that's where you can check out our clubs and societies. There are lots of clubs and ways that you can meet other people on campus, and Griff Life is a great place to start. And then we'll have Start Homeroom as well as Start skills workshops throughout September and throughout your first year, where you can connect in a start homeroom to study with other first year students or boost your study skills in one of our workshops. So keep an eye out for those events. They're open to all students, regardless of whether you're living on or off campus. And now I'm going to introduce you to one of my colleagues, Sadia, who's going to chat to you about eating on campus. Sadia, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sadia and I'm part of the START orientation team, and I'll be chatting about eating on campus. So your campus card is basically your payment method for all dining purchases on campus, as well as for shopping at the university bookstore if you choose to add a textbook plan to your meal plan. The on-campus meal plans are offered in 5 different sizes, and so they're mandatory for students living in traditional residences, but they're optional for students living in East residences, West Village, and East Village townhouses. So there are 5 different sizes of meal plans to suit every need, and the cost covers both the fall and winter semesters. So on campus and on off campus students can have a meal plan, and students essentially receive half of their food dollars at the beginning of September and the other half in mid-December. And all 5 meal plan options are available to students living in residence and off campus. Me personally, I use my meal plan a lot when I lived in residence, and I found it super convenient because when you're on campus for classes or studying all day, having a meal plan is super great to grab a meal or snack during those long days. So to pay for a purchase, you'd basically use your campus card, tap your card at the card reader at the cashier, and pay the appropriate amount, and it will be just deducted from your plan. Without your campus card, you will have to pay with another means of payment, so either debit or credit. You cannot transfer a cash purchase to your Ultra Food plan, and you cannot get a cash refund from your plan. Our food, as you most of you might know, has been voted the first in all of Canada for our food services for over 10 years. So our menus include vegetarian, vegan, kosher, halal, gluten-free, and peanut-free, lactose-free, and nut-free choices. We also offer homemade comfort foods and international cuisine with a lot of freshly prepared options and specialty desserts from the Creelman Bake Shop. There's also a dietitian on campus who can help you learn more about foods that work for you, or can help you select options on campus based on various food needs. I really loved eating on campus because there's so many different options, and I was kind of a picky eater when I first came to Guelph, but I was always able to find something to eat on campus. And my personal favorite is the Ice Cream and Hall because they really have a really wide selection of for a lot of meals, and I would highly recommend the crepes or the wood stove pizza. Transportation on campus. So transit is an excellent way to get around the city of Guelph. So many students living off campus use the bus to travel to and from university. If you're registered as a full-time student, your tuition basically includes the bus pass fee, and part-time students have the option to opt in. Your student card doubles as a bus pass and allows you to have unlimited rides on City of Guelph Transit. And end up using my bus pass very often, apart from just classes. I also use it for groceries, shopping, and nights out with my friends. During the school year, there's also a late night service that runs from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. that helps to pick students outside of regular bus hours, and it's completely free too. We'll be posting links about for more information about the bus pass. I found it useful to check the bus routes before heading out to school or for errands. You can check bus routes at the Guelph Transit website and find bus times using Google Maps. I'd usually end up taking the 99 South or North bus to school from home every day, and it comes every 10 minutes, which is super convenient. And on weekdays, I used to get to school, and on weekends, I often take the bus downtown to shop and hang out with friends. If you have any questions about campus or travel in or out of Guelph, you can email OCL, which is our off-campus living team, at uofguelph.ca with your questions. We also have the Go Transit bus loop on campus, which serves the Greater Toronto Area, so GTA, and it can be found on our campus bus terminal. Routes from the University of Guelph include Square One, Highway 407 bus terminal, Union Station, and Brampton and Bramalea. You can also connect to Hamilton or Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge through a quick transfer. University students are also eligible for 40% off their rides, so I don't really have to worry about breaking the bank to travel. When I need to top up my card, I usually reload it from the Presto. I usually reload my Presto at the kiosk we have on the platforms on campus.
Thank you, Sadia. Now we're going to do some breakout rooms. So if you're a student who will be living in residence, please stay in this session. If you're a student who's going to be living off campus, in the Q&A section, I have just posted a link to your breakout session. So take a look in the Q&A. I just posted this meeting link is for those commuting to campus or living off campus. So head over to that session now. Both sessions are going to be recorded and put on our START website. Okay, we'll just give those folks a moment to head on over. And our residence team, I'll bring you up next. So the folks who are remaining on this call, you should be here because you're living in residence. Over to you, Kayla.
Sounds good. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla, and today I'm joined by some wonderful folks from Student Housing and Residence Life and Interhall Council. Today, we'll be giving you some important information about preparing for residence, and we're really excited to welcome you home in fall 2026. So I'll go to the next slide, and then we can all introduce ourselves. Adia, if you want to take it away.
Awesome. Can you hear me good? Awesome. So my name is Adia. I am a recent Guelph grad, and I'm working as a part of the residence admissions team as marketing and admissions assistant. So I am one of the people who assigns you into rooms and does all the lottery and the back end things. And I'm really excited to be here and chat about everything residence.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley. I'm the residence program coordinator here. So I oversee the strategies in which we'd use throughout the year with our staff team to connect with all of you.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I'm the marketing communication specialist. I'm pretty new to the team, but I'm really excited to contribute to student housing. Yeah, I just manage social media, branding, and all things comms and marketing related.
And hi everyone, I'm Kira. I'm the Interhall Council or IHC president. And essentially, Interhall Council is your student governance for resident students. And so we get the chance to advocate and run things like events for all of you.
So you all must be wondering, when am I going to know where I'm going to live, what my room assignment is going to be, and all those questions because it is the time of the year. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a sneak peek on how room assignments are done and when might you be hearing about it. So as a lot of you might know, rooms are assigned using a randomized lottery system. So everyone who has an offer of residence or had an email saying, congratulations, you have a space in residence. We take all of those students and randomly assign them lottery numbers. So after everyone is assigned a random lottery number, they are assigned on the basis of that into their room choices. So to give you an example, maybe I'm in the lottery mix and I pulled a lottery number of 10. That is a really good lottery number, so I will probably get one of my top choices. So if I ask for a Lambton suite, there's a chance that I'll get a Lambton suite. But if I would have pulled a lottery number of 5,550, that's quite a high lottery number. And it is likely that I'm not going to get one of my top choices because we basically go down and see like, oh, let's see if we have the Lambton suite available. Oops, we only have 50 of those. We're out of those. Let's go to the second choice that I put on my application. I said for a South single. Let's see if we have any South singles. Oh my God, we have a lot of those, and we have some left. Let's assign me there. So we basically make our way down your preference list based on what you asked for and your lottery number. And dependent on the popularity of the room, we might be able to provide you one of those. And if you're not, that's why we asked you for your other preferences. So room preference, building type, or residence learning community. And on the basis of that, we assign you your room. So we are well on our way to assigning you. We are halfway there. We have assigned a lot of students to the rooms already, and room assignments will be going live on the housing portal at the end of July or early August based on how audits go. Email will be sent when the room transfer request opens. It usually opens up in late September because we always give students a chance to move in, get a feel for where they're living, because more times than not, once they move in and they're like, wait, I actually love my room and I love the people around me and I want to live here. We do our best to match your room style and residence building preferences based on what you have put and specified on your application and your lottery number. Students do not receive any information about their lottery number because that does not really impact it impacts what room you're getting, but it doesn't really mean anything to you because you can't really do anything about it because it's assigned randomly. And we're going to talk about a little roommates and suite mates. So a lot of you would have submitted your roommates you want to room with, friends you might be coming to university with, and if you selected them as your roommate request group, you will be assigned with them. So we basically, both you and your roommate are assigned the same lottery number, so that way you're matched and you get assigned together based on the preferences that you put on. If you do not put a roommate down, that is a-okay. We try our best using the personality questions that we asked you in your application to assign you with the best possible match. And all the roommate and suite mate information will go live on the housing portal along with your room assignments. Their U Guelph email address will be available to you on there, and you can reach out to your roommate in advance, get in touch with them, and ask about different things, coordinate about who's going to bring the pots and pans and who's going to bring the kettle and all that fun stuff. Yeah, and now I'm going to pass it on to Kayla to chat a bit more about move-in.
So residence move-in days are just around the corner. I'm sure a lot of us are feeling really excited about it, maybe a little bit anxious. I know reflecting to my first year was the first time I ever left my hometown, so I remember being a little bit overwhelmed. But that's why we're here to help. This year, September 4th to September 6th are our move-in days. We will be giving you a time slot, which will be made available on the housing portal. We will send you an email as well just to let you know those are available. You'll be assigned a specific time slot on a specific day. If you find that the time slot that you're given doesn't work for you, you can always go back into the housing portal and choose a different one. If you are looking for more information on what to expect for move-in days, definitely go to our website. It's a great resource. On our move-in guide webpage, we have information on what to expect when you move in. We have a packing list there. We have packing labels as well to label your items and your boxes and your packing containers. So definitely check that out. We will be updating that webpage throughout the summer with more information on where to park and even maps as well on how to get to your assigned residence. Students who are registered for any START orientation program, you are pre-approved to move in earlier just to give you a chance to settle in, enjoy those orientation programs, and you get to experience residence a little bit earlier before everybody else moves in. So that includes the START International program, START Indigenous, and START Accessible as well. Next slide. And then packing. So I always recommend packing in advance. If you need some help of what to pack, including what to bring and maybe what not to bring to residence, we do have a packing list on our website that you can download as a PDF. We also have some drop-down menus as well with more detailed information on good items to bring and also prohibited items not to bring to residence. So some things right off the bat that you're probably going to need right away is toiletries, personal items, hygiene products, bedding. Make sure to look at what residence you're in because some of the beds are different. For example, Gordon has different beds. I believe they have double beds and queen beds. So just double check what your room you're in. You want to bring your school supplies, like electronics, room decorations. We really encourage to make that room your home. Bring, stuff from home, from maybe your own bedroom, twinkly lights, posters. Some people bring stuffed animals, anything that makes you feel at home, cozy, and comfortable, because at the end of the day, that is your space that you're coming home to. And then other important essential items. So bring your IDs and stuff like that, and any important documentation as well. What not to bring, don't bring more than one vehicle. It's going to be a busy day. There's going to be a lot of cars, so try and keep one household to one vehicle. Don't bring kitchen appliances in your traditional room. If you do have a room that is part of a suite or a townhouse, then you can bring those kitchen appliances. We just don't want any kitchen appliances in a traditional residence room. Don't bring pets. If you do have a service animal, please reach out to us and we'll make those accommodations for you. No candles or incense. Open flames are not permitted as it is a fire hazard, and no alcohol, drugs, and any of that sort of paraphernalia. Orientation week is dry. Another packing tip, if you need labels to put on your boxes and packages just so nothing gets lost, please check out our website. We have a template there that you can download. Thank you.
We're so excited to welcome you here. We have lots of supports that are available to you at the university and specifically within residence as well. So we have our residence assistants who are upper year students who act as mentors, so they can help you with your transition period. If you have conflicts, they can also help you with navigating some of those. They help facilitate your community experiences. So that's bringing your community together to help you get to know other people in your community and building too. Our residence life managers are also additional supports for you, so they oversee those teams, and there's managers for each of our buildings here. And again, they're another resource should you have any concerns or questions that you can go to them for some additional support. Interhall Council, so Kira's on the call with us today and will be joining us in a second to share a little bit more about them. But what's really neat about our Interhall Council is they're the voice and spirit of residents, and they've been here since 1969. So they've been around for many years, and they really help to advocate for students on campus and really help create that sense of community for folks coming and joining us. Orientation week, there's so many events happening. Our staff are here to help guide you throughout the week. So we're excited to be here and help support you with that transition. And then there's lots of campus resources and community building that is available throughout the year. And the residence assistants within your communities are really able to help guide you and point you to those resources. And I'm going to pass it off to Kira to speak a little bit more about Interhall Council.
Perfect. So, hi everyone. As Haley said, my name is Kira and I'm here today representing Interhall Council, or as we short form it, IHC. IHC is the Residence Hall Association for the University of Guelph, and we represent over 5,000 students living in residence each year, which makes us the largest resident student government in Ontario, which is kind of cool. So what does that actually mean? Basically, IHC is here to help make your residence experience the best it can be. We run events during O Week and throughout the year, advocate for resident students, and work to build community across every residence on campus. One simple way to think about it is that each residence has its own version of a student council, which we call a hall council. These teams are made up of student leaders who also live in residence and help represent the students. They plan events, listen to student concerns, advocate for their hall, and create a welcoming and fun community. During O Week, you'll see us running around. IHC has over 30 events this year for you to attend, both in your specific residence building and across campus more generally. Whether you're looking to meet new people or try something fun, there'll be many opportunities to get involved. IHC also helps out with Pep Rally, which personally is my favorite O Week event, so you'll definitely see us there too. We're also currently accepting applications for hall executive positions. A hall executive is a student leader who serves on their residence hall council team. Every residence has its own team with roles like president, vice president, social coordinator, public relations officer. Each role has a different set of responsibilities, but everyone works towards the same goal of creating a welcoming, fun, inclusive community for their fellow residents. So if you're passionate about getting involved, meeting new people, and making a difference, being a hall executive is the perfect way to kick off your residence experience. You can make sure to follow us on Instagram at InterHallGuelph to stay tuned. The application link is currently in our Instagram bio, and you'll also be receiving an information email about IHC from Housing Tomorrow, July 8th, with the application link and details to get involved. We're so excited to meet you all, and we can't wait for an awesome orientation week.
So I'm going to speak a little bit more about the ways that you can get involved in residence. So here we have our rail. So this is our Residence in Athletics Intramural League. We have weekly competitions against other buildings in a series of games. We typically play dodgeball in first semester. It's really fun. It is non-competitive, but students do get really into it. And we have students compete for the Rail Cup, we call it. So there's definitely different ways in which you can get involved throughout the year. We have academic support centers. So we also have upper year students who work within our academic teams. So you get to know them as cluster leaders, and our leaders within residence for these positions will have different academic events, whether that's boothing, so coming to your residence to share details with you, or have spaces in which they provide a quiet study space and are there to help guide questions about particular topics. So lots of supports there to make sure that you're successful within your academics. Take a Pause is another popular program that we host. We host it twice a week, and then we have a rotation in residence bi-weekly, so every other week. The second photo in here, so Take a Pause is our therapy dog program. So we have different dogs in different groups come in through those days. If you do come say hi. My dog's a part of that rotation as well. It's so much fun. We also have house calls. So this is a program in which we really care about your transition and want to make sure you're feeling supported here. So our house calls program happens around the first week of October, and we partner with staff and faculty from the University of Guelph with our residence life staff, so our RAs and the cluster leaders and who I have talked about in this presentation. And we go door to door to check in to see how you're doing. So this is another program you can look forward to and share a little bit of your feedback of your experience with us and get some more resources along the way. There's lots of opportunities for meeting other students throughout the year, whether it's through large scale or small scale programs that are offered. And we're excited to be able to continue connecting throughout the year in these experiences.
So thank you for sharing everything about residence, Haley. And I'm going to chat a little bit about early and late arrivals. So some of you might be thinking, oh my God, I am moving in from far away. I need to book tickets. Can I move in early? Can I move in late? So early arrival before move-in days, for that to become possible, you would have to submit an early arrival form on the housing portal. So the same place where you submitted your application, you will go on there. And once you receive your room assignment, so this will be after July, maybe early August or mid-August, that's when it opens up. And you will fill it out based on the date that you need to move in. Once we receive those, we go on case-by-case basis and approve or deny them based on that. So definitely make sure that you're making your case, you're sharing why you need to move in early. If you're part of any of the 3 START programs, START International, START Accessible, or START Indigenous, there are specific move-in dates for those programs that you will receive more information about. You do not need to complete an early arrival form for those 3 programs specifically. Your early arrival is automatic for that. But if you're not registered in any of those programs and you need to move in early, please submit this form and wait for an approval or denial. And based on that, you can make your move-in plans. If you are denied, you can submit more documentation and more information. And again, we will review it case by case basis and send out our decisions based on that. If you're planning to arrive late, so after the move-in days, after the move-in weekend, you do not need to fill out any kind of form. You can move in later after the move-in weekend anytime. You just have to go to your residence desk and pick up your keys, and they will check you right in. If you are planning to move in after the first day of classes, please send us an email so that we know that you're moving in late and we do not cancel your booking, because after the first week of classes, anyone who doesn't show up, we cancel their bookings as no-shows and bring up people from the waitlist to fill up those spaces. So if you are planning to move in late, send us an email and we will make a note on your website, on your file, and make sure that you are all set to move in. I am gonna pass it on to Kayla now.
So let's get started with the campus card. So students living in residence will receive their campus card during their residence check-in at their specific residence desk. Just be sure to submit all your photo and supported documentation before July 24th. If you don't meet that deadline, then unfortunately won't be ready at the desk. So we really encourage, if you haven't yet, to do that now. If you have any questions, feel free to email the email on the screen, or if you want more information or a step-by-step guide, definitely visit the website on the page as well. Your campus card is your all-access pass to campus. That's everything from accessing your residence building, your meal card plan. So if you're purchasing food, you just tap your card on campus and that's it. So yeah, definitely do that before the deadline, and then it will be ready for you at the residence desk to just pick it up. So make sure you do that if you haven't yet. Next slide. So on the screen, we have lots of different photos that were submitted by past Griffins who lived in residence before you. A lot of students really pour their whole heart into decorating and making this place feel like home. We definitely recommend it. You are spending the whole year here, so definitely bring anything you want from home to make it feel cozy. If you are looking for more room inspiration on how to decorate your residence room, definitely go to our Instagram. We always post different photos that have been submitted in the past by past students. We also have an incredible student content creation team who will create videos and create posts as well to share their personal experiences of living in residence. So definitely collect some decor, even like lamps or carpets, twinkly lights to make your room nice and cozy. Next slide. So thank you all so much for being here today. Hopefully we answered some of your questions. We are going to be sticking around to answer some more if you have any. But if you want to stay connected with us, definitely follow us on Instagram or TikTok. I would say Instagram is more of our go-to for more resources and updates like that. We also do a lot of collaborations and how to get involved as well. So definitely follow us. If you have any specific questions, you can always email us or give us a call. And again, our website is an incredible resource. We have so much there. If you're wondering what your residence room might look like, or if you want residence tours, we have virtual tours on there, what to expect from different communities and stuff like that, different residence staff that we have. It's all there. Definitely check it out and swipe through our webpage. So thank you so much. One thing too I would like to address, I know we did have a question in the chat just before I forget that said that one of the move-ins was September 2nd for the START orientation. So if you are part of a START orientation plan, student housing always allows you to move in one day before the program actually starts. So if there is a specific webpage you did see that, definitely let us know. But yeah, thank you.
Everyone who was presenting in today's presentation. I'm just going to take a moment for the sake of the folks who might be watching this recording and share a couple of the questions that we got in the chat. And then for folks that are with us now live, if you have any additional questions, now's your time to ask. But we had a student ask about the Go Transit student discount and how to apply. And for Go Transit, you need to get a Presto Pass, and on their website, you can apply for the post-secondary student discount. So that's all done through Go Transit and their website. We had another question about I have a roommate selected. You said we both get the same lottery number. So do we both sign on and pick a room, or does one of us do it? And the response to that is that rooms are assigned by the residence admissions team on the back end. Both you and your roommate will be placed together based on the random lottery number that you both receive. We don't offer self-selection, so you'll be receiving the final room assignment closer to the end of July or early August. And if you have any questions, to reach out to the housing email that is on our screen. Just going to do a quick scroll, and I don't see any additional questions posted in the Q&A. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Like I said at the beginning, this presentation is recorded and will be shared on our Start U of G website. If you have any questions about starting at Guelph in general that aren't housing related, you can email the Start website on the screen. And follow us on social media or get in touch with Student Experience. Again, all our information is on the screen there. Thank you so much to our presenters for spending some time teaching us about residence this afternoon. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope you have a wonderful and safe summer. Bye.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. My name is June Baldwin. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the coordinator of neighborhood relations and off-campus living here at the University of Guelph. Thanks so much for joining today. I hope everyone is staying cool if you're in Southern Ontario like I am. I'm taking every AC break that I can get. All right, so we will go ahead and get started. Just a quick note before we do, there is a Q&A function, a question and answers. So please feel free to use that if you have any questions. Hopefully we'll answer a lot of your questions throughout the presentation. But if not, we will make sure that we're answering those either at the moment, or I'll be sure to check in at the end of the presentation to make sure everything gets answered. If for whatever reason we run out of time today, my email will be shared at the end, so lots of opportunity to follow up as well. So welcome to the Start U of G Living Off-Campus session. Okay, so here's an overview of what we'll be going over today. So hopefully these are some things that you've been thinking about if you're planning on living off campus, and things that you're considering, or maybe there's some new information in here, some resources to help you on your journey. And then we will also chat about community building at the end, because I know that's a really important piece for our incoming students to make sure that they're finding their U of G community, that they're not feeling like they're excluded from anything, because you're absolutely not. And we will get right into it. So as far as off-campus living supports go, off-campus living is a unit within the Student Experience Department here at the University of Guelph. So we are here to support all students, whether they're already living off campus or they're looking to live off campus in the future, or maybe you're commuting from another city to Guelph. You're all off-campus students. And we provide presentations and workshops like this one. We also offer one-on-one advising appointments for all things rental living related. So for example, if you're searching for housing, you're not sure how to get started, you're in the right spot here today in this presentation, but we also can do one-on-one advising to answer any specific questions that you have throughout your time. And then we continue that support throughout your journey living off campus. So if you ever have any issues with your roommates, or a question about your landlord or your tenant rights and responsibilities, we can support with those things as well. We also offer lease reviews, sublease reviews, application reviews. So if at any point in the searching for housing process you have a question, please feel free to reach out and we can support. We also provide programming and events for off-campus students, so that will start right away during orientation week, and we're really looking forward to that. Our email is right here, so feel free to jot it down, but I will share it at the end as well. Okay, so getting right into it, if students are living off campus in Guelph, where are they living? So we don't have one specific single concentrated student area in the city. Students are really spread all throughout the town. And the majority of student housing in Guelph is individual homes. So it could be a single house that's broken up into a couple of units, or the whole thing could be rented out into multiple rooms. There are townhouses, there are definitely apartment buildings as well. There are some purpose-built student housing options in the city of Guelph. So I've just put a list here of some of the ones. Keep in mind that some of these may have wait lists, and they're also not directly affiliated with the university in any way. So they're privately managed. So keep that in mind as well. But if you have any questions about these, of course, you can reach out. But they are kind of specifically built apartment style, typically houses or units that are for students to live in. So there's a variety of different styles depending on the building. And I definitely recommend that if you're interested in any of these options, you reach out to these companies as soon as possible just to see what their availability is like. The majority of off-campus students take public transit to get to campus, and we will go over what that looks like on a future slide, but all students have access to the full city transit system. It's included in your student fees, so your student card just works the same as a bus pass in Guelph. Okay, and here is the rental prices slide. So this is an average from student-specific sites, the Canon in particular, for this recent spring. The average was about $957 per room in a shared house. So that means living with other students. That is the monthly cost for a room on average. So there is a wide range when we're looking at the rental sites. There could be a couple $100 less than this. It could be a couple $100 more than this. It really just depends on the age of the unit, the quality, that kind of thing. So for the 1-bedroom, that is for a single unit. So one, like a studio style or bachelor style apartment. It could be a basement apartment, could be a 1-bedroom in an apartment building. That's the average price for that. Everything else here is for per room. So the 4 bedrooms being an average of $945 per room per month. And it's also important to note that there are some additional expenses that come along with living off campus. So utilities may or may not be included. So making sure that you're budgeting accordingly for that. If you're looking at listings, they should be clear as to whether or not the utilities are included. So that could be Guelph Hydro or Union Gas. And those are potential additional fees. We recommend students average an additional $40 to $70 per month for utilities. Sometimes that might include internet as well as an additional charge. So just something to keep in mind. And again, it really depends on how many people you're living with that are sharing the bills, or how old the unit is, what type of heating it has, those kinds of things. Additional charges may be parking. Usually I will say in Guelph, it's pretty good for having parking included, but there are definitely some units that have an additional fee or no parking available. So those are important things to be considering in your searching process. Okay, and finding roommates. So there are a few different ways for searching for roommates. There's a roommate finding tool, which can be really helpful on placesforstudents.ca, which we'll go over, I believe, in a slide soon. Or there could be really informal groups popping up based on your year of study or your program. So I do recommend kind of looking for those as well, just because you can always look outside the box for searching for housing in general. We'll share some general resources for that too, but if you are looking to connect with people first, these are some good options to do that. When it comes to actually living with a roommate or selecting a roommate, or maybe you're moving into a house and you're not familiar with the other people that are maybe already living there or also moving in, these are still important things to consider, even if they're confirmed to be your roommates for the next year. So having these conversations early can really prevent a lot of conflict in the future and make sure that you're on the right steps to have a good roommate relationship. So some things to consider are, what do you have in common? Would you enjoy each other's company? Are they easy to get along with? Do you enjoy the same things? And is that something that's important to you in your roommate relationship? For conflicts, what are our boundaries? Will these roommates respect my boundaries? Can I be open and honest with them? How will we resolve conflicts? Thinking about conflict resolution before entering into the roommate relationship is really important in preventing a lot of issues. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, if you need to let me know that you want me to do my dishes, please send me a text instead of coming up to me in person, or maybe it's vice versa. I'd rather the in-person conversation. Things like that can be really helpful in navigating living with roommates, especially if it's the first time. Lifestyle, will you have similar schedules? So that could be sleep, work, school, activities. Does one person maybe party more than the other? Are you aligned with how you feel about the use of alcohol or other substances in the home? How many people do you want to live with in a rental space? How comfortable are you all with guests? Are there any kind of roommate rules that you'd like to set up around that kind of thing? And safety, so do you feel safe with them? Does anyone have any significant allergies that really need to be monitored and accommodated for? Is anybody bringing pets into the situation? And if multiple people are bringing in pets, are those pets going to get along? All of those things are important to think about when you're deciding to live with someone. Okay, so here's some listing services that we recommend for students to use to search for housing. It is important to note that the university does not manage or administer any of these listing sites. So they're really great recommendations, but we cannot guarantee that there won't be some scams or things like that listed there. So some of them are student focused at the top, and other ones are more just general rental market. I recommend looking everywhere. It is a competitive rental market, so making sure that you're kind of keeping all of your options open. Keep an eye on all of the sites. If you're searching, I really recommend doing a daily scan to see if anything new has been added. The Canon is a really great place to start, especially to get familiar with what the rental market looks like for students in Guelph. So I recommend that as step one. But outside of that, feel free to reach out to more options. And you can also email us if you're not having any luck with these sites, you want some more resources, and we'll be happy to send them your way. Places for Students is a great website because they do charge a fee to landlords to post on there. So it's a little bit of a barrier for potential scams from happening. The other thing to note is that if you're ever unsure of a listing or you're wondering about a certain landlord or what will this address look like in terms of getting to and from campus, you can reach out to us, you can send us an email and let us know what your concerns or questions are, or you can book an advising appointment with us and we can help you from there. Okay, and this is the Canon. So this is what it looks like on a mobile device. Hopefully the video is playing. Yep, okay. So this is kind of what it will look like if you go to search from your phone. You want to make sure that you're looking at the offering because wanted would be other folks like yourselves looking for housing. So making sure you're going to offering. Outside of that, I recommend keeping your search parameters really broad. Sometimes landlords don't necessarily capture the full picture. If they're saying 1 bedroom available, maybe they have multiple 1 bedrooms available in the same house. So if you're looking with a group, there could be more options that you're not limiting yourself to. So keep your options broad, keep your eye on the sites as much as possible so that you're really quick to reach out if anything comes up that interests you. Okay, and then step 1 is really to arrange showing. So use the listing sites that we've provided and contact the landlord for all of the places that you're interested in. I wouldn't recommend relying too much on the photos to determine interest. They may be outdated or they may not have images at all. It really isn't the best indicator of whether or not a place could work for you. When you're reaching out to landlords, you can give a really brief description of yourself. So you could share your name, your program, and ask to set up a viewing and let the landlord know you're interested in this unit. Make sure that you're reading the description of the unit carefully because it likely lists information about other tenants who maybe live there or are moving in, utilities, whether or not they're included, parking, any rules that they may have. And don't limit yourself to reaching out to just one listing or one landlord at a time. They're receiving a lot of interest, especially right now, and you may not hear back from everyone that you reach out to. So try to keep it as broad as possible and reach out to all of the ones you're interested in. Step 2 is to actually attend showings, which primarily will happen in person if you're in a city that you're able to access Guelph easily. Maybe there's one day that you know that you can come to Guelph to do viewing. So I recommend suggesting that when you're arranging your showings in the first place and that initial contact to the landlord. You could say, hi, I'm going to be there this Saturday. Is it possible to come for a viewing? And try to align kind of a whole bunch of viewings as possible in one day. If you are out of province, or you're in a city that's too far to get to Guelph, or you're in another country, you'll be looking at doing virtual showings most likely, unless you're planning on coming to visit for a period of time before moving here. So if you are doing a virtual showing, making sure that that's a live tour, so a FaceTime call, a video chat that is happening at current time, just so that you can make sure that the place is legitimate. This is really your opportunity too to ask any questions and get a proper feel for the unit and find out if you think it could be a fit for you. So asking any questions, maybe it's about furniture, parking, internet, utilities. It's also a great time to express your interest. So even if you're not 100% sure on a place, but it is one of the options you're considering, I strongly recommend letting the landlord know that you are interested in moving forward with an application process at that time, just so that you can continue to be considered. So here's some things to look out for with regards to living standards. So making sure that there are working smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms in the unit. Are there safe ways to get out of the unit in case there is a fire? If any of the bedrooms are in the basement, making sure that there's a window large enough or a patio door to get out in case of a fire on that floor. If your building has more than 4 bedrooms that share one kitchen, it should be registered with the city. And the same if your building has 2 separate kitchens, is it registered with the city? And fortunately in Guelph, we have a really great tenant inspection program that the city runs for free. So before you move in, you can call the city to see if the property is registered, certified, and they can also tell you if there's any outstanding building permits or any outstanding complaints with the unit, just to make sure that you're safe when you're moving in. And then once you've actually moved in and got access to your unit, you can book a free rental inspection of the unit. So a city inspector can come and make sure that everything is meeting the standards that it should. Okay, and the next step is to complete an application. So there is no standard application that landlords use. This here is a common one that I see, but it's just an example. So sometimes landlords will use a variety of applications. They may ask for different things. Some landlords may not have a formal application at all, and they just want to have a conversation. Basically, at the end of the day, a landlord is really just seeking information to decide whether or not you'll be a good tenant that won't do damage to their property and will pay your rent on time. So we really encourage that you're prepared for things that they may ask for. Something that is common for student rentals is to be asked for a guarantor or reference for rentals. So have this information ready if possible. A guarantor is usually a parent or guardian, somebody who's willing to sign an additional document to the lease agreement saying that in the case that the student doesn't make a rent payment, this individual will cover the cost. And if you're in a situation where maybe you don't have that available, definitely connect with us and we can provide some additional options that may work. But at the end of the day, it is up to the landlord with who they want to rent to. Sometimes it's helpful to provide landlords with proof of enrollment, which you can request from the registrar's office, but there is a fee that goes along with that. Landlords may also ask for things like a credit check. It's important to note you don't need to provide your SIN, your social insurance number. There's other ways that they could do that, or if you self-monitor your credit, you could share that, or maybe you don't have a credit report in Canada because you haven't had any credit as of yet as a student. And usually landlords are, if they're renting to students, they're familiar with this process and they'll have other options available. Our best advice really for securing the rental at this stage is to be as quick as you can with the whole process. So landlords have a lot of interest right now, especially, and there is a lot of competition sometimes for units. So sometimes it's a matter of being the first person to respond and complete the actual application. That is the successful tenant. But that being said, you do want to make sure that the unit is safe and a good fit for you before you're actually signing the lease agreement. So the next step, and kind of the last step in the securing housing process, is signing a lease and paying last month's rent. So if and when your application with the landlord is approved, you should be provided a copy of the standard lease, which is pictured here. This is one page of, I think, like 16. So it is a long document. And this will mostly be filled out by the landlord with all of the specifics of your unit. So what's included, what's not included, the agreed monthly rent rate, the date that the agreement will start, the length of the term, which is typically 12 months. And the lease is a legally binding contract. So you really want to make sure that this is something you're comfortable committing to when you're signing it. If you end up in a situation where you need to leave a lease early, definitely connect with us. There are some options depending on your situation for doing so. But in general, you do want to be quite sure that you want to live somewhere when you're actually signing the lease. Once the lease has been signed, and we do also provide lease reviews as well. So feel free to send us anything a landlord's sending you. But once it's been signed, you'll likely be required to pay last month's rent deposit. So landlords should only be asking for last month's rent payment at the time of signing the lease. However, you may find that they also request first month's rent, so first and last. While they should only be asking for last month's rent, it is common practice, unfortunately, for them to ask for both. So it's really just up to you whether or not you're comfortable paying first in addition to last month's rent. Landlords shouldn't be asking for a damage deposit. The only additional deposit that they're legally allowed to ask for would be a key deposit, which should just be the expected amount to replace a key. So it shouldn't be something like $500 or things like that, because that would not be legitimate. So if you're moving into a unit on September 1st, say you're signing your lease agreement on July 10th, you'd be expected to pay your last month's rent payment on July 10th when you sign the lease agreement, and then you'd start paying your monthly rent payments September 1st, unless you've already paid for first month's rent. Last month's rent payment will be used for your final month living in the unit. And the standard lease has a lot of protection, so I really do recommend reading through it because it covers a lot of what your rights are. You may receive a lease that doesn't look like this, but even if you do, and even if you sign a different looking agreement, you are still protected by the residential tenancy agreement and the Ontario standard lease. So you still have the same rights as long as your tenancy is Residential Tenancies Act protected, which it is unless you live directly with your landlord or an immediate family member of theirs. So if you're in that situation, please reach out. We can kind of chat about what that looks like. That can be a successful living situation as well, but you do have different rights. Okay, and here's some red flags to look out for in your searching for housing process. So if you are unable to meet the landlord or the property manager in person, or the landlord's out of town or country, and there's no local contact or property manager, this could be a red flag because they should be ready and available, or at least have a representative that's local to address any issues with the unit, show the unit for sure. So I would be really hesitant to see the unit in real time. If they're asking for any deposits other than the last month's rent payment, as we discussed, or any other payments prior to signing a lease, there are some specific like condos and things that may have an application fee, but if you're in that situation, it's best just to reach out to us so we can kind of advise on what that looks like and if it seems like a legitimate fee or not. And if there are prices and lease terms that are too good to be true, so if the landlord is saying, oh, sure, we'll shorten the term from 12 months to 8 months, or yeah, we can change the rent from $800 a month to $400, those could be red flags, and I would be a little bit cautious of situations like those. Okay, and getting to campus. All right, so the UPass is, as mentioned, provided and paid for by your student fees, run through the Central Students Association. So your student card is the City of Guelph Bus Pass. So you have unlimited rides throughout town. It doesn't just have to be to campus, it's to anywhere in the city. And there are some additional services that you can use with your City of Guelph transit as well. So there is an on-demand service where you can book a ride in advance from any one bus stop in the city to any other bus stop. So that can be great if you're maybe not on a direct route to something that you're looking for, or other things like that. There is also a late night bus service, which is free for not only students, but for anybody. So if you have friends who are visiting, they have access to the late night bus as well. And it runs from Tuesday to Saturday nights until 3 a.m. and it goes kind of from campus to downtown to nearby neighborhoods. And it's really a great option for making sure that you're getting home safe from downtown or campus. There is also a late night bus on Sunday to kind of align with the university's library hours so that students can be on campus later on Sundays than our normal service goes. Google Maps is a really great tool for checking out different routes to campus from specific addresses. You can just click on the public transportation icon. However, there are a lot of routes that run in the fall and winter semester that may not be showing up right now. So if you have a specific question about getting to campus from a certain address, please reach out. Food access. I know they chatted a bit about eating on campus in the original session. So here's some additional pieces for off-campus. So if you do end up going with a off-campus meal plan, or if you opt into the on-campus meal plan, even though you'll be living off-campus, there's a lot of places off-campus that accept the meal plan. So it's not just everywhere on campus. There's a ton of places throughout Guelph that will accept payment with that plan as well. And there's a lot of grocery stores that have different student discounts. There's a local farmers market, which is really great in the downtown area. There's also an on-campus food market, which runs weekly, that has a sliding scale. So it's a really great option to get some fresh local produce. Often it's grown right here on campus in our urban organic farm. There is also a campus food bank, which if you're interested in, I do recommend connecting with them sooner rather than later. And there's a campus community fridge and pantry. So if you've been to the University Center, it's near the subway in the food hall, and it is a fridge and cupboards. And if there's anything in there at any time, it's available to anybody for free. So I always recommend that students check it out. If they're just passing by, there could be some great stuff in there. Okay, and finally, building community and getting connected at the University of Guelph. So living off campus doesn't mean that you should be any less connected to campus and everything that comes with it. So here's some ways to stay connected and build community. Off-campus living, which is me and my team, we run weekly events for off-campus students, and we run a lot of programs during orientation week as well. So keep an eye out for those. Griff Life is really the hub of all student events. So if you are wondering what's going on for orientation week, everything will be getting posted on Griff Life soon. And that is also the same place that you want to check for ongoing events throughout the year. So if it's a student club or a staff organization or faculty, professors running events, that everything gets posted on Griff Life. So if you're just wondering, oh, how could I kill a couple of hours today between my classes, then go to Griff Life, see if there's any events. Maybe there's some that have free food, which is always a bonus in my opinion. And you can find and connect with groups that way. Off-campus university students is a student-run club. They have a lounge in the University Center basement, which is a really great place to hang out between classes. It's usually open Monday to Fridays throughout the day. And they run some really great events. So you'll get really familiar with not just me, but with them during orientation week. They do some really cool stuff. And I've seen a sneak peek of what's to come for them this year, and it looks really great. And student clubs and organizations are a really great way to get involved. So if you have an interest, if you have a hobby, if you're curious about something, there is probably a club or organization for you. There's, I believe, over 200 groups, maybe closer to 300 now, I'm not sure. So there'll be lots of opportunities during orientation week to get to know these clubs. They'll be kind of out on display at various times throughout the week. So it's a really great time to connect. You don't have to fully commit to joining a group to go to their events. So make sure that you're just getting out there and getting involved. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of additional accountability to get yourself to campus when you're an off-campus student, but that is really the hardest part. Once you get here, you'll see so many students in the same situation trying to meet friends and build their university community. Okay, so this is our last slide for today. So here's an opportunity to connect with us. If you have any questions at all, that's our website. You can send us an email. If you look up Off-Campus Living Advisor, just on Google for Guelph, you will find my booking information if you want to book a virtual meeting with me. If you want to book in person, just send an email and we can organize that as well. So thank you so much for coming today. I will take a look at the chat and see if there's anything I might have missed. Okay, I'm seeing a question about tuition, which is not my area of expertise, but you will get some information in the chat from Nate there to find more info on the tuition piece. And as mentioned, feel free to email any questions that you have as well. I'll just wait a couple more moments, but otherwise, thanks so much for joining, folks, and have a really great rest of your day and summer. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall. Okay, perfect. Thanks, folks. Not seeing any other questions, so we will end the session. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks.